Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network, a station dedicated to the concept that all manifestations of the divine are equally valid. Join Reverend Terry Power HP, Robin McKean, and all the hosts for programming covering a wide range of spiritual topics, right here on Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to an emerging forest, a safe place where we have the freedom to think about life without judgment. We take a look at society, we examine it, and we allow for the possibility of something new, something different. And now, here's your host, Alan Ritter.
Welcome, everyone, to another Sunday night, and this happens to be the next to last Sunday night in September of 2018. And tonight's show is a interesting show because we're going to be talking to some folks who made an effort to bridge between various diverse groups in Philadelphia. And I'd like them to introduce themselves. So, Gabrielle, would you introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Gabrielle Corsaro. I'm co-artistic director of The Bridge PHL and artistic director of Angel Pirate Productions here in Philadelphia.
And Hannah?
Hi, I'm Hannah Tsapatoris Macleod, and I am also the co-artistic director of The Bridge PHL, and I am the founder and artistic director of Naked Feet Productions.
So, an effort like the one we're going to talk about tonight, the bridge, doesn't come from, it doesn't just start. It sort of has now that you're in it, you can sort of look back and say, oh, that's where that came from. So how did the effort that you're in, which is in its third performing festival season in November, how did that get started?
Well, Gabby and I had been a part of something called Greenlight, and we and a few other women had started coming together to sort of rekindle that. The artistic director of Greenlight had taken it with her when she moved across the country, and so we were starting to come together, and a bunch of women talking about, like, how are we going to rekindle what we had with that amazing production, festival sort of thing we were doing with them. And then it sort of evolved into something else. And both Gabby and I felt that the mission had to be more focused on diversity and bringing our awareness to the current tides, not just women's voices, but, Black women's voices and Native American women's voices, and everybody's voices needed to be coming forward and making a stand. Gabby?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we, Alex Stokes-Pendola is the artistic director of Greenlight Productions, and she moved across the country to California with her family, and Hannah and I had done a lot of work with her production company there, and so we were looking for a way for the women theater artists that we'd worked with in that group to go forward and continue. But we were very present in those first meetings. This would have been in 2015, with some of the issues that we're facing, as a nation, and of course then as artists, that we were finding ourselves particularly disturbed by, and those were around ongoing oppression and racism in the country.
The lack
and
the lack of presence too. Like we weren't seeing these, their voices weren't being heard.
Yeah, we certainly weren't seeing them a great deal, in mainstream theater, and here in Philadelphia and New York. I mean, occasionally, but we knew that there's a very vibrant Black theater community in Philadelphia, but that community didn't really ever seem to touch.
Never highlighted.
And we didn't, and we hadn't had the opportunity to work with very many women of color or theater artists of color ourselves in our projects, and we understood that to be a great loss for us and a great opportunity for the future. And Hannah and I particularly started to really gel. I mean, we were friends before, certainly, but we found ourselves very, very drawn to this particular mission of raising up the voices of Black women artists and artists of color, and to sort of right that wrong of not having made stronger effort in the past to include their stories, their perspectives, their voices. We became very passionate about that. Yeah.
So when you describe the scene with those voices as being vibrant, do you mean there was a scene that was totally within that community and wasn't being heard outside that community, and that's what you're sort of trying to provide?
Well, in Philadelphia, there are many Black theater artists who are putting on plays and performances, and Black artists are performing for Black audiences, and very few white audiences are going to see these Black plays. And I, for one, have gone, and I'm like, I want to see what's going on in the Black theater community, and it's vibrant and rich, and there's talent, and it's strong, and it's amazing. And it's a loss for the white community that we are not touching base with our Black brothers and sisters of color who are theater artists. We need to bridge this divide, because there's, we all are trying to work here as artists, and we need to, open up that door. Let's connect. Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of like working in a farm field and not knowing about the 10 acres over there, and not knowing what's being grown there, and all of a sudden you trip and fall, and you fall over the boundary, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this existed. Hey,
right, because we live in our little bubble.
Right.
Exactly. So that in a nutshell, that is what the bridge is all about.
Yeah, our mission is that we strive to foster human connections between our rich and diverse communities by encouraging openness and dialogue around perspectives on racial prejudice, privilege, inclusion, intersectionality, and bias. And every single word of those of that we've
crafted
really
that. We spent a long time.
We crafted that because we wanted to be very precise about what we're doing. There's a lot of integrity in having a precise mission, and it also makes it much clearer to us as to what we're about and what we're doing. So we just go back with every decision. We look at the mission and go, are we on mission? Yes, okay, we're on mission.
Does this fall under,
Yeah. Yeah. But because it's interesting, I think that we're in an era now where there's a lot of, Hannah and I have been doing a lot of reading and learning about this as well, and there's this awareness now of what it means, to be a white person who, wants to end racism and is aware of, that the country was founded in a white supremacist form and what that means, the patriarchy and what that means and how those things continue to resonate and impact very, very negatively, I would argue, everyone, because it hurts everyone, but it certainly is still harming the Black community. And it's not enough to simply, say something like, I don't see color, or to raise your children to be open-minded. And, it's not enough. It's not enough to just sit quietly with yourself and say, I'm a good person, the people around me are good people, because that's not actually having an impact.
We have to become uncomfortable, and we have to allow ourselves to be uncomfortable with these truths in order for us to grow as human beings. And, I know that Gabby and I have both been on an incredible journey, and I've learned so many things and continue to learn every day. And, a few years ago when I was directing one of the pieces for the first ever Bridge PHL, and we were in rehearsal, and we had 3 Black actors and 3 white actors, and we were in this particular scene where they were sort of improvising and creating this moment, and this uncomfortable moment happened that between the white character and the Black character that they were going with because they were such brilliant actors. And I, as a white woman, was like, wow, that made me so uncomfortable. I think we got to keep it. We have to be uncomfortable, and we have to be okay with that in order to grow.
Yeah, and we knew also that this work, we thought it has to be led by us as white women, because we feel this is white people's work to make these efforts, make these efforts to make this change, to use our. I know we're using a lot of words that probably many people have a lot of feeling about, like I'm going to say that we should use our white privilege. And we can certainly talk about what that is and what that is not, but to use that to try and, create change and to do good with it. So we knew that we couldn't be having a lot of very serious conversations about the direction that the Bridge PHL was going to go in without there being a Black woman in the room to make sure that we, to course correct us when we were going off on our idea of what we think would be a great idea, but really wouldn't be that helpful. And so we have, fortunately, we have now with us, we have many beautiful artists of color and Black women that work with us and Black men, but we have Carla Ezel, who is now our production director, who she came on as a producer last year, and before that worked as an artist with us. Now she's like our third person who and she is Black, and she has been an invaluable addition to our our direction. Because we absolutely will have conversations that will go she will absolutely illuminate something for us on a regular basis. That
every day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and it's we cherish it. This has really been. We always say that the Bridge PHL, will teach us many lessons and provide many gifts. Because it does. It's unbelievable once you start this work and start these conversations. They're difficult, they're painful, you make mistakes, you say things you regret, that you didn't understand, you didn't mean to do any harm. These things happen, but you come out of it.
Then we grow.
So much more. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think I know that Gabby and I both feel like this is an ongoing journey and an ongoing process of discovery and enlightenment and joy, too, because the love that we have come across and the community of artists who we've been working with the past 3 years, it's just unbelievable. The people that are coming out and who are grabbing our hands and saying, I want to be a part of this, this, thing that is happening. It's happening. Yeah,
it's wonderful. It's so gratifying, and we had no idea that it would be so joyous and growing and rich so quickly. But we're extremely grateful for it and very inspired.
Yeah, your mission really is it resonates with the mission of an emerging forest, because I grew up I grew up within sort of the envelope of white culture, and in the past, since 2005, I've sort of re-educated myself and continue to drop barriers about not the fertility of this culture, but actually the infertility of this culture, and how we need, and literally you look at the dying ecosystem, you look at the dying species, you look literally at the television shows that are so infantile, you look at the percentage of chronic disease. One of my previous guests was talking about she's seriously worried about fertility of the next generation, and actually having a next generation because of the increase in vaccination, coupled with the steadily decreasing food value of what everyone's eating. Like 50% of the next generation is going to be chronically ill. So there is literally, there's an active campaign of supervisors who control the direction of our society, and it's not just the area that you're talking about. I'm super interested in the area that you're talking about, but it's a much larger scope of a thing. So I just look at it and I say, okay, this society that we are in is one group's vision of what they want. And I say to them, an emerging forest and the bridge and many, many other efforts are, hey, we don't want to go in your direction. We don't want a field with all these people in it that's so cordoned off with obstacles that we don't know anybody anymore, and we're encouraged just to, continue to be even more insular to the point where we just all stay at home or something like that.
Right. I mean, certainly, with social media and the internet, there's a great opportunity with that. There's all of these ways now to reach out to one another through these things and to stay in touch with people and make new connections, and that's wonderful. Except for the fact that if you're not looking to branch out, you can become extremely, extremely insular in what you read about and what you think about and what people are saying to you and what you're, you can unfriend someone. We have been unfriended, if you're saying something that someone doesn't want to hear. And, but I agree with you completely. We are all connected, and lots of issues, are connected to one another. Social justice absolutely, impacts, access to healthy food, which goes back then to neighborhoods that, are nutrient deserts. That goes back to, like everything. It's just like it's all connected. And, while we very much wish to stay extremely precise on what we're focusing on, because we also, feel that you bring up racism against Black people, and everybody who isn't Black in the room wants to change subject. They would love to talk about anything else at all. They'd rather talk about racism towards another group or some other kind of injustice, and those things are absolutely valid and absolutely true and happening and horrible. But we are two white women that are trying to keep the focus on racism towards Black people just for 4 days a year at the Rotunda, because if we could just stay focused on that, those stories, the stories that those artists are telling, are very varied. And if you're there to experience them, you understand how their experience is affecting everything that the rest of us who may not be Black are also experiencing. And so that's helpful to know. you know.
Well, and once we start to have that conversation and we start to make a dent in that, not that it's going to take time, because this is like hundreds of years going on, right? So we're just two little people in Philadelphia holding up our little light. But once we start to make even the slightest dent in that, other things are going to give. You know, it's got to be an arrow. It's got to be pointed. It's got to be focused on this thing, because the rest of the things will start to shatter and give way to justice overall.
Yeah, it's a matter of getting people used to hearing this conversation and being willing to stay in this conversation and not to be afraid and not feel attacked. And
easy.
Just to, and it's you know, it isn't
not
easy. It's really painful a lot of times, and I know when I first started, doing some of this work, doing the research.
Didn't do it.
It was.
Remember?
We had a hard time getting to even like one meeting with a group of people because people don't want to have to think about this. White people certainly, don't want to have to take responsibility for any of this, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about what we're asking of people or why we want to have these conversations, and but mainly we want to have them because we know that these people that we know are part of communities that are part of a history that continue to be brutalized, and so something must still need to be done, and we can't just sit here and say, oh my God, what a shame, that's so horrible.
No, we have to step up. We gotta step up.
Yeah.
That's what we've been feeling like is our job here, and even our little voices in Philadelphia are gonna make change because it's growing. It's a growing it's growing.
It changes us, it changes us, and we can branch out as time progresses, but this is I think that one of the lessons that we're learning too is how to remain open, when we're faced with some criticism, which I have to say we've been very fortunate. We haven't actually fielded a whole lot of criticism. We've fielded way more good energy and and a lot
and support.
Right.
Love.
But when we do get some, it's usually from a white person who has an idea that we should be doing this in a different way than we're doing it. It could be any number of things, any number of small parts of this project that something about it is not the way they would do it. And to which, we're always like, then
go
and
have a project. Why don't you start a project then?
We're not competing with you. We are not going for we're not trying to win the, gold medal for best white, artist. We're just
everybody, we all need to take a stand.
We were like, please go show us the good way to do it then, seriously, let there be more of this then,
please.
And I think that there's a lot of that. There's a lot of just saying to everyone, whatever it is that you feel really passionate about, if there's some wrong or injustice, but just make a small step to do something, to make, like this podcast, I call it a podcast, this show that we're on right here, do something, put something out in the world, create something that is a gesture and a step and a walk and a conversation towards the change you want to make.
Be the change.
Be the change.
Yep. Be the change.
You see, we don't have a whole lot to say about any of this, Alan.
So my 3-minute commercial is I run a produce club in southeastern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey that actually accesses the wholesale produce markets in Philadelphia, and there is a lot of hidden, really low cost food. That is sort of the process is the wholesaler receives it, they sell it for a price that might be 50% to a third of the cost that you see in Whole Foods, The reason they do that is they're selling it by the case. Okay, so you need to gather a whole bunch of people together to buy those cases. But produce has this funny thing. It has a shelf life, and they're also getting some more in next week. So when they're getting more in next week of the same stuff and it becomes a storage issue, and there's a little bit left of that particular lot, they drop the price all the way to the floor. So the example I use all the time is organic sweet potatoes cost $3 a pound at Whole Foods. So if you buy the standard 40-pound case, that's $120. Well, I can buy the same quality level of organic sweet potatoes, the number ones at this wholesaler for $36 for 40 pounds. Already you're talking about almost a factor of 4. Now, their rock bottom price, the price that I go to the 2 a.m. or the 4 a.m. market and get them off the dock when they're basically ready to part with them, is that case of organic sweet potatoes, 40 pounds, can go for $5. I know because I bought 2 last week, and I've been buying the same thing for the last 8 years. So that's what I do. That's one of the things that I do. That's one of my basically my show here called An Emerging Forest is just one of the things that I do along the same line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are all just important ways to take part in your community in a positive fashion. And I think Hannah and I, we saw all this disgustingness. Actually, when we started, like you say, it was like 2015. So Obama was still president.
I feel like
we
it
could have
was
never.
14.
Well, I know 14? You always say that. We might have started to have conversations in 2014. We may
feel like it was so much earlier than that.
I know. Well,
and then we tried to set up the
festival
and it all fell apart. And then we tried again.
It
took a long
lot of
time
work to get started. Yeah, but we
to get to get the push.
Yeah, to get the push, and then the first show was really we had some Black women.
I had to write a 40-minute piece.
And Hannah wrote a piece, and I wrote a piece, and we just kind of we literally slapped it together, with like a prayer and just a little, sweat.
And a glue gun.
And we just really, but it was great. I mean, we were thrilled with it, and we got a wonderful response, and we met so many wonderful people and artists, and, that was we didn't have a website. I don't even know if we had a Facebook page.
We had a Facebook page. We had a Facebook page.
Okay. But, but we were just
we even had a Twitter, but none of us, we didn't
Yeah.
know how to make it happen all the time because
We
we're
didn't
not
really
like
know how
that
to-
savvy.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
No,
Carla
we
is
didn't,
our
and-
she's our lady with when it comes to the internet and social media.
She does our
She's so
website
savvy.
and
She does all our graphics.
All our graphics, and she's also just wicked smart. She has her own business. Cahiz is her business, and these are silk head wraps and knitted caps and beauty products, and so she's had a lot of experience in how to run your own small business, and she has definitely started to slap us into shape about how if you first of all, when I talk about some of the things that we've learned, she's like, look, if you're trying to show Black women and women of color particularly that you're paying attention to them and you want to draw them and their stories and their experiences to this festival. We're also, of course, very interested in white artists that have something to say about this and want to express, from their perspective, how, something about this whole issue. Then they're welcome, of course, and are involved very much in our festival.
Oh, we've got quite a few white artists who have written plays and for Black artists, and we're trying to keep that bridge alive.
Yeah, but we have to do it in a thoughtful manner, and Carla has been extremely instrumental in us being aware of exactly how something is going to resonate best in Black community, and then how that's helpful towards us drawing white artists who know what to look for when they're looking for a safe, brave place to have a discussion like this, because it's very nerve-wracking to create a piece of work that is, political or has social commentary, and particularly if it deals with race. So we just want to do everything we can to make everyone feel, welcome, and that we are going to, I don't want to say we're going to take, we're going to support you. We're going to try and take good care of you. You also have to take care of yourself, but we're definitely, here to do whatever we can to make your vision come to life. Once we see that your work is meshing with our mission, and we're grateful to have you.
And on that note, I'm going to play some music now. Hey everybody, here's Dave the Bard, How and So.
Take no scorn to wear the horn. It was the crest when you were born. Your father's father wore it, and your father wore it too. Highland Jolly Rumble, we were up long before the day to welcome in the summertime. Welcome in the May, the summer is a-coming in, and winter's gone away. Robin Hood and Little John have both gone to the fair, and we shall to the merry greenwood to hunt the bark and hare. Oh, Highland Jolly Rumble, we were up long before the day to welcome in the summertime. Welcome in the May, the summer is a-coming in, and winter's gone away. What happened to the Spaniard? The mates are brave, the boast, that they shall eat the feather goose. We shall eat the roast, Highland Jolly Rumble, we were up long before the day to welcome in the summertime. Welcome in the May, the summer is a-coming in, and winter's gone away.
Tune in to International Pagan Radio. You can hear your favorite artists such as Dave the Bard, Tuatha Dea, Spiral Rhythm, S.J. Tucker, Murphy's Midnight Rounders, and many, many more. Join us for exciting shows like Ask a Witch and Storytime with Rook as well. www.internationalpaganradio.com on the net or on TuneIn Radio on your mobile devices. Join us on Facebook and Twitter too. International Pagan Radio, all pagan, all the time.
Welcome back to An Emerging Forest on the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. We hope everyone was able to stretch their legs and get a drink. And now, back to Alan.
Welcome back, everyone. This is a live broadcast program, and if you want to speak to our guests, Gabrielle and Hannah, please call in. The number is 646-564-9714. That's 646-564-9714. And so you guys are back on, and can you tell us something about the artists and the plays that you have slated for this year's festival?
Sure. We have a record number this year. There are 16 separate pieces. Not all are plays, not all are theater. Some are music, some are dance, some are poetry. Most of them are plays. There's one artist that we've worked with several times now, T.S. Hawkins, and she is an amazing local poet and playwright. She writes choreo
spoken
poems,
word,
and and they're gorgeous. We have been very, very, very blessed to have her work with us now several times, and
we have a lot of new playwrights.
We do, but T.S.'s piece is called "Don't Want to Dance with Ghosts," and it deals with love and the pain that you are left with after, a former relationship and how to go forward. And she's a Black queer artist, and so her perspective on it is very, very beautiful, very unique. Her work is always very beautiful and unique, and so we're always excited to have T.S. Hawkins working with us. Anna, who do you want to talk about? There's so many. There's so many fabulous.
Yeah, I'm going to be directing a piece written by Marie Turco called "The Sanity Trials," about being bipolar and issues that go on in community and stigmatisms around that. And there's a piece. There's a bunch of new artists who just dropped in and were like, we want to put our play in your festival. We vetted them. We have an artist named Autumn who has written a wonderful poem piece. Lois Moses will be assistant directing, and that Lois Moses is a really well-known Black theater artist in Philadelphia, and she's super talented and is helping with that piece.
That's Autumn Konakopa.
Yeah.
I'm sure I just butchered your name, Autumn. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so sorry, Autumn. Anyway, 16 different artists. We have four days, but we have 6 performances, and through those 6 performances, we will be breaking up the plays so that we have every play gets about 4 slots in the 6th slot festival. So you're able to get those tickets online at thebridgephl.org. And you can either get one-night tickets for $15, or you can get a package and spend $40 and come as much as you want. Yeah, and you might see the same show twice, but you might see it in a different way, and you'll still always see new shows.
Like you might see the same individual performances more than once if you come more than one day or evening, but you won't ever see exactly the same pieces that you saw on another time that you came.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to shake it up a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is actually the first time we've ever had this problem too, right? We've had so many. We're like, how are we going to get all of these pieces in to 6 shows? So we made it work.
Yeah. No, it's a really good problem to have.
It totally is.
So the dates are November the 1st through the 4th. Your performance theater is the Rotunda at 4014.
In West Philadelphia.
I believe that's Walnut Street, right?
Yep, 4014 Walnut. Yep. We have performances every one of those evenings, Thursday through Sunday at 7:30, and then we have matinees on Saturday and Sunday at 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. Yep. And we just ask everyone to go to thebridgephl.org if they want to check out more of what we're about, you know, our
read our bios
and our presence, and we've got a lot of good stuff on there now. We've got blogging that we're doing, and we've got all kinds of. We have a library page on our website where we link to lots of important books if you're sort of jumping off into this world of what can I do to, you know, interrupt racism in our country. That we've got I think a dozen at least books on there now, which members of our community here have read and recommend, and so and we have those on there. So you know, we invite everyone to come in and check us out at the Bridge PHL.
Or on Instagram. We have an Instagram.
We've got a lively Instagram. Where thanks to Carla.
Thanks to Carla.
Yep.
We have, of course, our Facebook page that we try to keep updated and alive as well.
So there are links to all these, to Instagram and Facebook on your website?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yep, everything. If you just go to thebridgephl.org, you can find your way. We're the Bridge PHL pretty much everywhere, so if you put that in for, you know, at Instagram or Facebook, Twitter, we're trying to up our Twitter game. So, you know, you can find us out there, you know, talking about us, talking about our artists, talking about other things, you know, that are going on in the community that are relevant, you know, to what we want to bring, you know, shine some light on.
Mm-hmm. So you had talked earlier in the show about how the first year was baling wire and glue and a few sticks and stuff to fold all together.
Kind of, yeah.
But and then at this end, you're basically saying, you know, we have so much going on here. It's we're having to do this awesome jumbling or random scramble of performances, and so you never get the same bill of fare twice if you come to separate performances. But in a historical sort of a, you know, 3 is not a large sample to look back on. But how has you know, just in that short time period, can you talk to how the festival has changed over the last 3 years?
Well, when we first began, and it really was kind of like me and Gabby, a couple of other women who eventually sort of found other things they felt more strongly about and stepped away from the project. And we had Merlin Brown, who was really like the mom and mother and heart of our work. It was like those were the early years, right? Where we were just like,
and Kathy Harmer. Kathy Harmer is an actress. She still, you know, she still works with us, and she's, you know, but it was basically just those four of us, and Merle and Kathy, just kind of wearing all the hats.
You know, we were doing everything, and it was hard because of the conversation. This is clearly a very difficult thing to say. Even, you know, no matter who we reached out to, they were like, no, we don't really want to be involved. But once we just finally grounded ourselves in our integrity, in our truth, we got that first festival up and running. We reached out with all our hearts and wanted that connection. And what happened was, in reaching out and saying, hey, we want to have this conversation, we are not afraid, the response from the Black community, Black artists, was like tenfold. They were like, you want to talk about it? We want to talk about it too. And here we are. And then, boom, it was like,
I mean, I'm sure they don't want to have to talk about it.
No, they don't want to talk about it.
But they were like, they were grateful that we wanted to hear their story. We wanted to hear their perspective. We wanted to put their story on stage, and give it space
and we weren't
and light
afraid,
and love.
and we're willing to make mistakes, and we're willing to grow, and we see the value in beautiful artwork, and we want to make change. And I think just that alone, in our dedication and our, this is it, no matter how hard it is, and no matter, even if we fail at it, we believe in it so strongly. And that is what bounced back to us, was that love and that support. And here we are, 16 plays in, so many plays.
Yeah. It is. I mean, when we put out our call for submission last spring, and and we ask everyone, to email their submissions to us at thebridgephl@gmail.com. And at some point, not long after that, within a few weeks, I called Hannah and I was like, Hannah, we have to get together and start reading things, because we've got a lot. We've got a lot of submissions, and we've got a lot of really good submissions, and it's like that saying, the moment of conviction, the universe conspires to assist you. And I think that's, Hannah and I talk about this all the time, but this is because we want to do this, and we will do this. We will do this,
right.
And we really don't care. We don't care if it's hard. We don't care if we mess up. We don't want to mess up. Please don't let us mess up. But
we don't want to mess up.
Happens,
we might mess up,
because
we're human, and
we will learn. But we're not going to stop. Partly, I'm driven because for so many reasons. But I'm very present that we grew up in an era where there was feminism. And our mothers were, feminists, or even grandmothers, had been feminists and independent. And but from what I learned, white feminism left black women behind, and women of color behind. And I just
we can't ever do that again.
And we can't ever do that again. We can't ever. We have to make up for that. I can't put myself in the shoes of women who came before us. But I know that, in my time, in our era, I'm not going to look away, and I'm not going to leave her behind. That's completely, once you're aware of something, if you don't do anything about it, we're very, very present with that feeling of, we have amends to make, we have space to make, we have light and love to give, and we're going to do it.
Yep. We're dedicated. We're doing it. Yep. We're doing it.
It's very funny, from my perspective. The produce business that I run is sometimes very difficult, and it's sometimes very challenging. And to date, I don't make a lot of money at it, so I support myself with other jobs. But then it's basically like midnight or a little bit after midnight, and you're still awake, and you're worried about the project, and you're saying, is the universe telling me to go in a different direction? And then you realize all during your life, the universe has always given you the out of being able to make an excuse and move on. And then you basically say, okay, I don't care what the bank account says. I don't care about any of this other stuff. I'll make this work, but this is my project.
Yeah,
and
your passion.
All of a sudden, the universe takes a step back and says, this person is absolutely committed to this, and there's no little voice that I can stick in their head that's going to get them to stop doing this. And what happens at that point is the universe no longer can put things in your head to get you to stop, and so the universe just starts opening doors for you. And
that's true.
It's literally, as you said, it's the commitment level. It's not even a level. You're either committed or you're not. And early on,
commitment only.
and
true.
And early on, you're literally not committed. And then you get to a certain point where you say, I'm not listening to those voices anymore. I'm not listening to anybody's voice anymore except my purpose. And my purpose is to go through this wall right here, and all of a sudden there's a door.
Yeah. That's really interesting. You say it that way about, like your purpose and is the universe what is the universe giving me an out? When we were super early in this process, and we had to postpone the first original festival because we just didn't have anybody who was interested.
We didn't have enough
remember,
together. Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't working. I remember feeling this like caving sense, like I don't think I can do this. This is too hard. And I was at Kripalu Yoga Center, and this is a crazy story, and this is like the universe spoke to me, and I was there on a retreat, and there was a young black woman who happened to also be there, and we had sort of made eye contact in the hallway a couple times, and towards the end of my stay, we were downstairs in, there's like a hot tub area in the Kripalu Yoga Center, and she was there, and we were all like, a bunch of women, and we're all in the hot tub, and we're all vulnerable. We're all nude in this hot tub. And this black woman got up, and she went to go get into the cold tub. And mind you, I was in the state of like, I think I just have to stop doing the bridge. It's too hard. And this black woman got out of the hot tub naked and got into the cold tub. And I said to her, like spontaneously, I was like, oh, my God, are you getting in the cold tub? Because to me, this is like a terrifying idea. And she said, yes, it's very grounding. And I was like, wow. And I got out, and there we are, nude, strangers. And she's like, are you getting in? And I was like, I don't know. And she reaches her hands out to me, and she says, take my hands. And in that moment, I knew, like, I had a choice. Like, I could just be like, oh, no, I'm not comfortable with that. But I knew that this was, like, the moment the universe was giving me this metaphor, this larger-than-life metaphor, to get into the cold tub with this black stranger and say yes. And so we got in.
I'm going to go do this uncomfortable.
I'm going to do it no matter how scary and cold it's going to be.
You're showing me the way. Yeah.
Yes, I got in. I got cold and wet. We screamed. It was so cold, up to our ears. And then we got out, and I was like, wow, thank you for making me do that. And she looked at me. She's like, I wouldn't have done that without you. And there was this moment with this stranger. We were vulnerable, and I knew in that moment, I was like, this is what the universe is telling me to do. I gotta commit. And it was then like things actually started to turn around too, and it was like, I know for me anyway, like my change of heart, my commitment got stronger because the universe had given me this sign. And for this woman, it might not have been a sign. It might have been like, she does this all the time. I mean, I don't know. But to me, it was a sign. It was just a deep and meaningful thing. And I don't know her name. And she just was an angel in that moment. And she was like, she was spirit. And she said, this is what you need to do. And it was profound. It changed my life. It did.
I think it's
so
important. Absolutely. It's important to be open.
I was at Kripalu for 8 days in March of 2005, and there was a lot of interesting things that happened to me there. So I know very well I wasn't in the women's sauna. Sorry, I was in the men's. I was in the men's sauna. But I understand that. But sort of some of my later adventures in the mind gave me the outcome that we're here to explore everything, and mastery is exploring all the squares and mastering all the skills that are on all the squares. And fear basically says some of those squares and some of those skills are not safe. But literally the design of the universe is for you to think that there's some lack of safety, but for you to know that all of the things that you could possibly do and all of the situations that you could possibly be in are physically present because they are to be explored and they are to be understood as they exist, they're there to be explored they are safe by definition. So
we
fear,
definitely,
fear,
the fear, yes, the fear.
Yeah.
The fear is the thing that poisons our ability, our capacity to understand and grow.
Yep. It is.
Yeah. And
it's a mind killer.
Getting through the fear that that you're gonna it's so interesting because with race discussions, it's hard to pinpoint exactly sometimes what the fear is. Like you're afraid you might say the wrong thing, or you're afraid, but it's very hard to pinpoint. This where the whole idea of like white fragility comes in, is that like when people, even if it's just a room full of white people, if they're asked to talk about race, the defenses come up and their credentials come out. As Robin DiAngelo, who wrote this recently published book, White Fragility, the fears come up and we list our credentials. Like, I grew up in a very diverse neighborhood. I have lots of black friends. And it's just like, okay.
And so what?
But why do you feel the need to put up this defense? And I would say this to myself and to anyone else. It's like, why can't we just talk about it without us having to like explain why we get
feel defensive about it? We
don't have to do anything. We're one of the good ones. We're, and it's like, but that's not.
Yeah, we don't say that.
But that's not helping the black community and the unbelievable situation that they are still in this country. That there's nothing that protects them, and there's and it's shocking that we would take the opportunity to find a way to bow out because the whole thing is so intolerable. It's not necessary. We can have these conversations and all live through them, and if we do them the right way, nobody has to feel
compassion.
Yeah. There's a reason why we all feel the way we feel, however it is we feel. There's a reason for it. But if progress is to be made, there has to be a willingness to have some open discussion and to
take the plunge into the cold tub.
Yeah. It's I know that there are times that people are going to come to the show and be uncomfortable.
It's interesting to be in a relationship, and it is a relationship. And so to simplify it, let's just call it a white-black relationship. So it's not just how the black community is held. It's a relationship. So it's how so if you take a step back, let's take a big step back and look at it, like hold your hands out and say, we have on one hand, we have the black community. On the other hand, we have the white community. Well, the black community has been articulated to be in a certain posture, but when it comes together and they have this relationship, please look at the white community and how does the white community posture itself? And we have the opportunity here to learn how we are posturing ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, so historically, these two populations, based on color, have been manipulated by events. It's not just the black community that's been manipulated by events. It's the white community as well. So by reaching out, by dealing with this uncomfortable situation, you're actually dealing with your own uncomfortable situation.
It's very true. Yeah, because a lot of this work.
In understanding how these two hands grasp each other, it's not symmetrical. It's not symmetrical. That means that on the one hand, the black community has a particular, but then you realize that in order to grasp hands and have this relationship, the white community is doing all of these things and we don't even think about it.
Yeah. And these, I think, not to go too far down this road, but, our current political situation is very indicative of what can happen if you're willing to let yourself be lied to and to lie to yourself and not face the reality of the things that are not working in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And
many thousands of years of that.
Yeah.
So, what are some initiatives or events that the Bridge PHL is looking to add to its programming in the future?
Oh, we're definitely going to start a talkback series. We talked about this, remember, Gabby, at my birthday party in August. We have a couple of people.
Yes.
We started this conversation, a panel where, a panel of professionals, and you could, be there to speak about their experiences and be available for conversation and discussion. We also want to do some workshops. We have a cabaret that we are going to be producing.
In the spring. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we have. The festival isn't just our only little event. We definitely have more, and as we grow, we plan on having more and more, outreach. Like, the Bridge could reach out all over the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Workshops everywhere.
Yeah. I think we have a lot of big lofty dreams that our 9-to-5 jobs, or not honest job is way more than 9 to 5, but our regular grown-up people jobs get in the way of us being able to really make some of those things happen quickly. But we have a lot of big ideas for ways that the Bridge PHL and its artists, its growing community of artists, can work together to maybe do all sorts of wonderful things. But, it starts with, I think, just some good conversation.
The cabaret.
Yeah, yeah. It starts with some good conversation and some mixing some audiences up a little bit. It's Philadelphia already. We've got plenty of everybody. So there's no excuse for why we can't come together and have some good conversation and have some good entertainment.
Yeah.
So one thing that I was thinking about as we were stepping through this is, are you filming these performances?
We do. We have video footage of everything. We have a YouTube page. There's and also a lot of our videos are on our website. We have in our photo gallery. There's also a video gallery. Yeah. That's
something that documentation is so important, and especially when it's a live performance. Documentation is basically because so quote unquote so few people will actually have been there, that connection and having those videos always working for you is I look at it as being, unless you're screaming at the top of the lungs, hey, we just had these 4 days of performances on November the 5th.
Right.
It didn't happen.
No, absolutely. Live performance is ephemeral, but we have video coverage of all of our of both festivals that have happened, and we've had 2 fundraisers, and that were sort of more sort of cabaret
video footage. Did we get video footage of the first fundraiser? I don't remember.
I think I believe so.
Oh, we did. No, we did. Yes. Or most of it.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, a lot of the highlights certainly. It's all on our YouTube channel, and a lot of it is on our website. Yeah, but you're right.
Well,
I couldn't agree more. We absolutely have to record it.
So basically, what I want to do is I want to go into a summary mode, where you basically say, we're having a festival. So you guys are having a festival on the 1st through the 4th of November. You're going to hold it at the Rotunda, which is a University of Pennsylvania building at 4014 Walnut Street in Philadelphia. And tell me a little bit, sort of a thumbnail of what the Bridge PHL is about, and what an audience can expect when they arrive and see this performance?
Well, there'll be 16 plays over the course of these 4 days and 6 performances. Diverse voices from all over the community, a myriad of different topics that these diverse voices have to talk about through
and the
voice.
Plays are all about, and performances are all between 5 and 15 minutes long. So you're getting you're getting short, but powerful bits of theater or song or dance, but they all, somehow jibe with our mission of trying to, create
fostering
connection. Yeah. There's comedy. It's a lot of different things, but there's definitely there's a thread that goes through the whole thing. And one thing that I'd also say is that I certainly hope, I believe this is true, and this is what we've been told, and so I feel okay to say it, but we have been told that it is a warm and welcoming environment. That is certainly our intention, to make it feel that way. There's some tough stuff happening on stage, but the environment, it's not like, it's not a horrible experience of pain and suffering. It's, but there's there's definitely serious, hard topics that we're dealing with. But the feeling at the end is inspired and hopeful and
very
the feeling of
oriented.
connection, that we just went through something together and came out together. And that's, that it's safe and it's warm and it's welcoming. And
even when it's uncomfortable, it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay because you're going to be seeing a beautiful piece of art and performance with wonderful people who are putting themselves out there because it means that much to them. And, you can't, I don't think we're designed as humans to not open ourselves to that.
And it's $15 for one night, and it's $40 for a festival pass. You can get that on our website, thebridgephl.org.
That's right.
Yeah. Thank you both so much. This has been another incredible episode of An Emerging Forest, and my name is Alan Ritter, and my email address is ritter@alan88@gmail.com. So ritter.alan88@gmail.com. I run a small produce business in the southeastern Pennsylvania and southern New Jersey area, and you can ask me questions about that as well. And my summary is always the same, and it's always something that is touched by the show. We are here to explore our edges. Our 9-to-5 job might be something just normal, but when you find your edge, when you find your purpose, you will know, and you will be challenged many times to walk away from it. But even walking away from it is not a mistake, because I changed my vocabulary. I don't see mistakes anymore. I see training. So I've changed my entire vocabulary away from any possibility of ever having a negative experience again, and I don't make mistakes. I'm in training. I don't run a marathon tomorrow. I train to run a marathon. So I can walk away from my purpose a million times. I can walk away from my purpose over 14 or 15 or 25 lifetimes, and then I can finally stick to it. And that was all training. So it's all positive. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
That's terrific.
So thank you so much, Gabrielle and Hannah, for being on tonight.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much for having us.
Let's stay in touch. I'm certainly available.
Come to the bridge.
To your. I'm certainly available to host your artists if you wish me to, or any other opportunities to provide support. So have a
Thank
great
you.
evening.
Wonderful.
And everyone out there, have a great evening as well.
Thanks, Alan. Have a great night. Thank you, Alan.
Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. Join us 7 nights a week for exciting programming covering a variety of expressions of faith. And remember, all manifestations of the divine are equally valid.